Okay, guys and girls, I think we can start. So, without further ado, thank you for coming today. It's quite rainy outside, lots of traffic jams. So here you can see the QR code for our WhatsApp group. So we publish some of the recent updates and information there. So you can sign up and be up to date because we plan, I think this year we plan to have some larger physical events, potentially in CBD area with more drinks and more food. So yeah, please sign up and keep up to date. So today we have a special guest, and Madina is a friend of mine, and she's a head of No, Madina, I will do the quick introduction, and then we'll do a fireside chat. So Madina, she's a very unique person because she's the head of a successful agency, as a very successful businesswoman. From other side, she's also part of ESSEC Business School. So one of the top business school worldwide and in Europe. And that was the interesting topic because we want to see what moves her to go from business to education and how she uses the AI element in it. So quickly do the introduction later. And I think before we start, I will do a quick introduction of what we do, because we just recently done a very big presentation for MediaCorp. We signed a very big contract with them. You all know MediaCorp, right? So yeah. So okay, let me show you a few slides, and then we will have a fireside with Madina, and my co-founder Alex will do a presentation later on. So to make a long story short, I wanted to ask you how many of you know about generative AI. Yeah, but I know it's like 99.9%. But I think what's interesting, our company was part of Google AI Accelerator as well as IMD AI Sandbox. And what we noticed that 95% of the startups, they're talking about ChatGPT, like different chatbots, or they're talking about different content creation tools, like how to create image, how to create text, and so on. And I feel this is very competitive and very risky space, because when you create something which is customer facing, there are lots of liabilities. I'm not sure, like, have you had this experience, because we work with big companies like, say, P&G or Johnson & Johnson. They always ask us, like, if you're going to create it using Gen AI, it's not something really comfortable to share. So that's why me and my co-founder Alex, is the one at the back of the room in Hawaii short, we just decided to go a bit deeper to the source. We decided, what if we use data and analyze it using, like, collect and analyze it using generative AI. And this is how SOMONITOR was created. So basically, this is a tool which allows companies to understand their competitors and provide some strategic insight. And by strategic, we're talking about something more long-term and something that can change their business. And we just signed the strategic partnership with MediaCorp. I actually had a big presentation for, I think, like 30 different government agencies last week. And because MediaCorp, they see this as a potential to upgrade the communication with up to 500 customers and brands they have on board. So this is a plan for the next 2 years. And honestly, we're quite excited about it. So what is this about? I will show you one of the pilots we've done. And again, I will briefly show it because we can't share all the details. And this was done for one of the leading banks. It's a big, you can see what the bank it is. It's a big Malaysian bank penetrating, entering Singapore, and they're trying to understand what can we do differently from other banks, or like how we can find our niche. Because there are few big banks on the market, like OCBC, UB, like DBS. So they're just trying to understand what's the niche for their bank. And the second is the government agency. The government agency, we want to understand how to educate Singaporeans about scam. So like how to prevent the scam and how to build that communication. I'll share some insights, but the rest of the insights is it's under non-disclosure agreement, and this is something that I presented for government agencies. So what we do at the first step, and this something is not just generative AI, we collect the data using social media data. So we can collect up to 100,000 of different posts. We analyze it using computer vision, machine learning, and this gives us two things. This gives us demographic and psychographic of the people. We understand who they are, and again, demographics is powered by GWI. I'm not sure if you know GWI. It's like Nielsen. So basically, we are the first company worldwide using AI to sign the partnership with GWI. So we will collect all their data. Let's say, how old are you? How much money do you make? What car do you drive? What phone do you like? What TV show do you like? And then we connect it to the social media data. let's say, what colors is your favorite, where do you post the pictures and so on. So the idea here, and also we have a premium subscription for Statista, so we will collect this data with market share. So we can understand how the market works, who are the people in this market, and what they like and what they want. So idea is to get a full 360 view of the customer, not to understand who they are, what they want, and how we can better communicate. You see, I'm not saying to sell to them, but how we can communicate. Because for instance, for Singapore government, it's not about selling, it's about communication. What kind of government programs they can launch. And based on the, I would say, next we'll show you some ideas. We can create different visual prompts, products. Again, we have lots of examples. We can even understand which campaign or which banner will be working best for this or another particular customer. And you can test it before the launch or like post-marketing. This is the proprietary algorithm, and I think the fidelity is about 70%, which is pretty good because on average, the market professional kind of rate is about maybe 20%. So not, I mean, the system works better than the market professional. And last but not the least, we provided MediaCorp with 150 pages report, and they converted in a 50 slides action plan. And basically, if you're talking about scam, they now have micro drama, they have like documentary, they have radio show, they have Instagram post, they have like all this together, and they presented to government, and they won quite a big tender. So for you to understand what type of tender we worked, it can be from, I don't know, a few $100,000 to a few $1 million, mostly because companies using our insights in order to pitch for new business, in order to show that they understand the business, and it's not just my gut feeling, it's because of the data, because of thousands of files that was created and connected. Okay, I think this is quickly where we are, and this is some contact to connect on Telegram, LinkedIn, and so on. I think this is, to make long story short, this is what we do, and that's why you see we are very at the edge of technology. So we work in artificial intelligence, we work in business. Honestly, I mean, my co-founder Alex, he's a PhD in computer science because he's a smart guy. I like more about the business. I want to understand, because it doesn't matter. Like I've worked for immersion tech for more than 10 years, so I've seen virtual reality, I've seen Web3, I've seen metaverse, and so on. And I never care about the technology rather than what's the business use case, like how much money the company can make or save, or like how to make the company's people more productive. So I think that's why we're always looking for this type of solutions. And I think that's one of the reasons why we invited some interesting people. Again, this Madina is one of them, so we wanted to have a fireside chat. And one of the key reasons, okay, Madina, come.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Test.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I will do a quick, not introduction. I think you can do the introduction best. I wanted to outline the agenda of this talk. The key part you need to understand for the rest of you, because Madina is a very successful businesswoman, and I think you won like the Claude Executives Award. Like
not just because of the looks, guys. Really. Which I can't discount on.
Yeah, they actually measured the performance. Yeah. So again, I think last year she surprised me with the news that she actually became the lecturer at Essex Business School, and I was like, wow. I mean, from one side I can understand why she moved into education, aside from her job, but from other side I was curious, like, what motivates the business professional practitioner to move from like media agency side or working with big brands, governments, to work with the students at the top business school, but still to work with the students. So I think that's one of the ideas to understand, like what's your motivation. And the second is, because you're a practitioner, you see the education from different angles. How do you see the education? What are the gaps and how it can be changed? And which role AI plays here? But first, let's start with your introduction.
Perfect. This question had 3 parts in it, and I'll go one by one. First of all, good evening, thank you. Happy Monday, everyone. It's a rainy, fabulous Monday. Mondays are my favorite days of the week for 2 reasons. One is because I'm a mother of 2, and I'm really happy to leave after a Sunday where I had no help, and the kids, like, I'm a donkey, I'm a don't know, a cat and anything else besides being a Wonder Woman. So yeah, so super happy. And again, Mondays are when we come back inspired from seeing whatever we see outside of work, usually on a Sunday, and our children open it up for us. Like we go to the zoo, not because we really want to go to the zoo, but we're forced to, and then we get thinking, you know, what if Monday did something? What if Monday did something? I actually called you and I asked you, can we pitch for Monday together, for instance? So these Monday is a really cool and important day. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I just want to add,
Right.
add to your point that I think I used to hate Mondays when I worked for someone else. But once
I work for
become-
someone else. I love Mondays.
No, but your own bosses. You're a chief executive. It's just like once you start working for your own company, it's much easier to cope with Mondays.
You just don't go to work and Vitaly's case. But yeah, so first things first. Yes, I've been in the creative advertising sector for over 15 years. Prior to that, just to give you some context, I've graduated at the absolutely wrong time. It was 2009, and everyone knows 2009 was a financial crisis. While I was enrolled in university, it was Richmond, I've started working part-time at an investment firm. I sold a structured note, literally telemarketing, calling people and selling a structured note, which was pegged to property development. I loved it because I can say whatever I want and they will never know how I look like, and if they don't want to buy it from me, we just hang up. No strings attached. I love this job.
Can I ask you a quick one? Did you use your real name or?
No, I had to use my real name, everything, you know.
Okay, because I remember I used to work in telemarketing at the start of my career, and I actually
Hello, I'm
used
James.
I used a different name because it was like full incognito regime.
No, I did the whole thing, and it was great practice run, like a stimulation session for the world. So once I realized that that's not probably going to be my career because all the hedge funds closed shop in the UK, and that's where I live, I had to quickly make a decision on where do I go, and London was not an option. I moved to Amman, to Jordan. I was offered a job at the United Nations, and I worked for the procurement department for HIV/AIDS and drug distribution amongst tuberculosis prisoners in Iraq. So did procurement for drug distribution, basically. It was really, really depressing, and I did not enjoy a single day working there, especially just looking at an Excel spreadsheet. And I discovered commercials way back because commercials are part of our life when we watch TV. And I thought I really want to do billboards, and I discovered complete science once I started Googling and understanding that Unilever, P&G, they employ strategists, they employ agencies, so I really wanted to go into that sector. And once I went in, it sucked me, my soul, my hair's gray and everything. And it's been 15 years and I love it. It's fantastically fun. So having to work in full large agencies, I decided to, last year, I decided to move to a local agency and become a partner for two reasons. First of all, it gives me the freedom to make decisions without having to check with HQ. I am HQ. I make a decision, and I see all my mistakes transparent, and I'm accountable in front of myself. So that was great. And a year in, I realized that there's so much that I have to offer, and I can give back. Give back because we need to train future leaders. And I thought there aren't a lot of young, and I do consider myself fairly young, educators out there in university setups. You get older professors, they're really into the ways they're doing things, they're not practitioners. And I thought, you know, if I come in and disrupt it a little bit and stand in front of master students, and I was very specific and very particular that I would only lecture master students for two reasons. One is because they pay full tuition fee. Their education is not subsidized by the government. And the second is they really listen to every single word I say because they pay for every minute that I'm in this room. So I'm very alert and I'm very cautious about what I tell them because they're listening and they ask. So to answer your first question is, first of all, I really wanted to give back. I only had one Friday where I can make up on the work on Saturday, Sunday. So I only teach on Mondays from 8:45 till 7:15 p.m. all day. Two groups. You were there. You were my guest speaker. You did a summary presentation to one of the groups. And so yeah, I do feel like by just being there as a young lecturer and a practitioner, and where the students can ask me questions which the professors will not have answers on. Why did you invest here? If you're negotiating with a client, why did you behave this way? Or how should I behave? They have the answers theoretically because they read a case study. I've been in those situations. Across many agencies, across my previous job, including my telemarketing experience, I give them that experience, I give them that vibe. And mentor them. A lot of them come to me and ask me, how do I get a career here? What should I say? How can I tweak my portfolio? As someone who's on the receiving end, I'm able to tell them how they are able to tweak or represent or scrape it, throw it out, let's do it together. So yeah, I love that. And of course for me what was really important as well throughout the agency experiences, to make sure that any single work that we produce is also award-winning work. It's important to be recognized, same way as it's important to get recognized in academia. You have to put your best work out there to be judged, and if it's judged well, win awards. So including myself, whenever there's an opportunity to participate somewhere and potentially get that recognition, I'm up for it. I never ignore that opportunity and try to go for it, basically. So that's a little bit about myself to answer the two questions. Now the third portion is, how do I think AI integrated into education? Can you repeat it so then I respond to it exactly how you
I think my initial question was, because you as a practitioner and you see some gaps in business education. One of them you mentioned that there are a lot of old professors who have no experience, well, let's say the experience of being outdated, versus you who has hands-on experience with different largest brands in Singapore and Southeast Asia. So my idea was that what gaps you see can be filled using AI, and which role currently, maybe at your start of when you start working in ESSEC, and now what roles AI plays in business education, and whether this role changes over time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, we'll never disregard the older professors because they are, they have the knowledge, they have the experience, theoretical experience, and many, many years of teaching and being exposed to clients. A lot of them are, let's say, they are chaired professors, meaning like LVMH hires a professor to do research and development. And ESSEC does specifically partner with the luxury sector. We have LVMH chaired professors who's never worked in their lives, but do research for these companies. So they are exposed on that level. From my side, it was more on day-to-day, you know, from literally receiving a brief to executing, selling the idea, closing the deals, and sustaining, maintaining a client. So, yes, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like there is a bit of, it's not like I offer more benefits. I offer a different type of consultation to the students that may be looking for a different type of an answer than from a professor. And funny enough, they all ask for consultancy hours as well, where maybe because I'm a little bit younger, it's easier for them to run a simulation model. Like imagine you're interviewing me, and I can really imagine that I'm interviewing them. They're all marketing professionals. Technically, I could employ them. So we do run these simulation models. To answer the final part, these simulation models could be done with AIs as well, you know, and I do encourage them. Everybody in class uses ChatGPT. It is by default. It's not banned in university. You do all your research, you write your outlines using AI tools. Everyone has been taught to use MidJourney as well for the creative portion because they've got an advertising module. And this semester I teach digital platforms test drives, which means I get Meta, Google, Pinterest, Snap. I have LinkedIn, and the first session was done with TikTok. Part of my lectures, they come in, and for an hour and a half, someone from TikTok does a live demo of their platform to showcase how you optimize a campaign. And most of them do have, like Meta has an AI assistant, and we teach them how to use that in order to help them. At the end of the day, you're saving time, and if you don't know how to handle a budget, it's best you use the AI tool, otherwise you'll waste that entire budget within 3 days, which you've allocated for a month. So tools like this are definitely part of even our teaching procedure. I'm super happy and thankful that there's AI tools that I can use to help me put together material, because both courses that I teach have never been taught an essay, so I had to come up with the material by myself. And if it wasn't of ChatGPT and MidJourney, I don't know, probably now I spend for 3 hours for a lecture, I spend 6 hours putting it together because of AI tools. If they weren't around, I don't know how long I'll have to put each session together. So yeah, we integrate them, we teach the tools to the students as well. And we encourage them to use them. So I would ask them, which portion did you optimize? Which is yours? Which is what you've received from all the tools that we've introduced? And luckily we also had you present, and the students are still asking for access, so please grant us some access. Yeah, it's really important. We need 15 chairs, Alex, for Somen. The students are asking.
Asking Business School is asking, they want to use this.
Because obviously Vitaly went in with this amazing demo, a live demo of the platform. They all got super hyped up and excited that now they can, really use Somen for market, social listening, for content generation, mapping, and now there's no access, excuse me, we really need it. Yeah, so we use and encourage.
You'll be even more surprised when you see the latest feature, the one we're developing now.
Then I'll tell them.
But anyway, not to be distracted.
Yeah, so we use and we encourage, and each time there's a new platform, there's a new model, there's a new tool, I really do encourage them to come in and do a demo at the classroom setup during my lecture time to show the students on how they can plug that in. We have other platforms like Meltwater and HubSpot also coming in. They're super essential for us as well. So, because they're a plug-in model and you can technically use them for your own benefit for optimization, yeah, totally. They have to, once they graduate, leave the course being equipped and being able to start working as an entrepreneur. Technically, they can freelance, they have all the knowledge, or as part of a wider organization to help optimize their campaigns.
Okay, I have a bit kind of off the course question, which I didn't share with Madina before. I wanted to ask you, if you were a student, so like if you go back to university, or maybe you go back to university, what would be your strategy as a student now using AI tools? Because there is a thin line between I copy and paste my diploma on ChatGPT, or like I'm using ChatGPT in order to get much deeper insights, in order to get my, let's say, business project that more effective. What would be, just curious your strategy.
An insanely interesting time where we have the tools to play around. And being a student in 2004 in Richmond, we just had Facebook that only, you can only register with your university names, and that was one of the interesting things in the web. Besides that, there was nothing interesting. You could go to Yahoo and Yahoo things, now you Google them. There were a couple of ICQ and those chats that you would hang out with. There was YouTube and there was Facebook, nothing else. Technically, you wouldn't use it for research as much as you would use the library, or as much as you would go in and speak to a professor and receive some cases and look and reread everything and extract that 2 paragraphs that actually make sense for you and cite them. Now with ChatGPT, you don't have to spend so much time researching. When you have crazy ideas and you don't know how to package them, you can ask the chat to help you literally rationalize them. Just put it all in, give it all your ridiculous thoughts, stupid examples, your emotions, feed it all into it, and it will help you with a little bit of structure that you're like, wow, this actually does make sense, I can present it, and it will show you a real rational way. So I would definitely use it, because I couldn't use my emotions I had when I was putting a paper together. It had to be very structured, and I had to always cite things, and integrating my thrill, my enthusiasm, that emotion that you have, you really don't sense it when you're writing an academic paper. But now you can, because you can ask ChatGPT, how do you incorporate both, for instance? So I would definitely show in a creative edge, and that edge, ChatGPT would help me do it in a very subtle way that my papers are distinct. So yes, I would research, that's what I would use it for, and then use a distinctive competitive edge that I would have in order to differentiate my paper from everyone else's.
I just have one comment. I feel that if you start using ChatGPT back then, 2004, that'll probably speed up your career and becoming a creative person rather than a procurement person working in the
I
United
had to
States.
explore. And you know, when you graduate, nobody thinks I want to go and join an ad agency working there for like 15 hours a day. You want to join United Nations. So I thought when I started working in the hedge fund at Alamos Capital Management, I thought, why am I not exploring my dream, which is to work at the United Nations? So I'm so happy held with this capital management. I'm going to go now pursue my dream and work for the UN. Because during my international school days, I did Model United Nations, MUN. So it was like, really, I'm going to do what I want to. Little did I know that it's so bureaucratic, and it's just not for me. Average age was 45, I'm 22, so you really, everyone, and it was in the Middle East, it was in Amman. The word that they used was bukra, that's like tomorrow. Everything is tomorrow, everything inshallah tomorrow. So nothing was done, but in advertising, every minute counts. You get a brief, you have to start brainstorming, you have to tune out ideas, and your creative director is probably looking for 15 ideas from you. So with tools that are available, you can accelerate, you can put these 15 ideas, ask for enhancement, ask to illuminate those that make no sense. Ask, you can prompt it. I mean, the next job is a prompter in general. Super interesting job, and I think everyone should have a prompter in themselves, learn how to use the tools that are available to you in order to enhance. Yeah.
It's actually a very interesting conversation. I will have one quick question, and maybe some of the audience have a question. Like, if you look maybe beyond 2030 or like next 5-10 years, how do you see the further integration of AI into the process of education, whether it's business or not business education? Do you see it's going to kind of become more and more important and a valuable part of the process, or you see that there is a specific threshold, once it's reached, then the rest is up to humans' creativity or kind of your talent and your skills and maybe your education and so on?
You know, I just want to say that, you know, right now when a lot of agencies are closing, and I'm speaking from my own balcony, yeah, I only see what I see from the floor that I see from, nothing above, not to. Creative agencies are closing down because a lot of those departments are being either handled internally because they're getting tools like SOMONITOR to plug in, they're getting people to learn, you know, MidJourney, and they're excellent prompters, and they can do performance as well, optimization of media. And at the end of the day, I feel like it's just a phase. Within 10 years, a good example, because in 10 years' time, if these brilliant people don't continue investing their time in advertising, when it really comes back to creativity in 10 years' time, we won't have a creative strategist available just because nobody went in and explored their career in creative strategy. You know, so we'll have those people distinct, which is bad, because I really think that the creative industry is the most future-proof from AI, because we go with illogical things. We can marry a butterfly to an axe. ChatGPT can't do that. Even if it really tries, it will look for logical ways of doing it. But when you're selling ideas, when you're selling a creative direction, a proposition, you have to be illogical for them to understand that creativity really matters in your specific context. If they want something straightforward, they don't need a creative agency to handle it. The creative agency should be there to help with this illogical connection and come up with something that is really beautiful, and then it makes sense. But right now we're losing people. We're losing people who are potentially going to end up being great strategists, someone who I could brainstorm with and who can marry that axe with a butterfly for me. So that's really bad. What I want to tell you that in 10 years' time, I won't probably have as big of a pool to tap into for specific strategies. But let's look at the brighter side of it. In education, because we're able to tap into the tools, we can quicker get to somewhere where we would spend really long time with research, analytics, with A/B testing, so on and so forth. We can quickly deliver a message. But I believe like in 10 years time, everything will look the same. Because of tools like social listening and ability to map a similar audience, similar creative, everything will look the same. And that's why I feel like in 10 years time, you will need a creative agency, but there won't be one who will help you. Because they'll all go in-house probably. So yeah, that's on the creative part. Now, education. You asked me if education will be disrupted by AI.
AI, they launch. But before that, I want to say that already the creative strategists are buying, we decided to go to the source in order to crew some.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. They need to be inspired, and every single student that I have, and that's 123 students, I encourage them to go into big agencies and start their career from that big agency. Because they're able to tap into many brands, you wear many hats. Today, I handle any business, name it, diapers, feminine hygiene care, maple syrup, tires, pulp, paper, Gucci Beauty, Hugo Boss, Zegna, literally everything. And that's just because I was in advertising. You really need to change your hat. Today you're handling Birla tires, tomorrow you're handling Gucci Beauty. And you just have to, and there are different ways, there are different stakeholders, and you can then find what's your forte. I still haven't found, that's why I'm still with an agency. But once you feel it, you then exit and you go into, okay, I love banking, I can offer them ideas within there, or I'll be a chief marketing officer in whatever. So I encourage all of them to start from an agency, because that's where they build knowledge, that's where they build expertise, that's when time really is money, because you sell man hours. Unfortunately, in Singapore, it is by man hours. I really want to change this, but all the clients argue, how many hours is it going to take you? So we bill you that much. Value of an idea is not as strong. It's more like how much time do you need to get it done. So I think that I'm at the source, infecting the students to, okay, that's a better, nurturing the students to persuade careers in advertising and be able to maneuver between clients fast and know the value of their time.
Okay, thank you very much. Any question from the side?
Sure. That's a good question. And when I went in to sell my business idea on how I would run this agency, the co-founder asked the same question, why don't you start your own? Or one simple reason. With Tilt, I think its unique proposition was the fact that it's registered with the whole of government. WOG is very important in Singapore, and it's been on roster for the whole of government for many, many years. So our bread and butter comes from local government projects like SG Clean, E2I, NNI, Singapore Police Force. Yes, some of the ideas have to be very black and white, like there's no creativity. That's what they want, they just want you to execute, and you can fight with them, but that's what they want, and fine, you execute. You just do it. But then you upsell to them something else, and that's where magic happens. We always deliver, but then sell them an idea that we believe they should be doing in another sector. So I think if you're with a right partner that gives you the right liberty, where, you know, Vitaly said, your own boss and you have the time, and you really value add to where you're working, it really doesn't matter. I'm okay with Tilt because it values me for what I give, and I value them for what they have. That's being part of WOG, so I can have the roster of government clients to play with. Yeah, I don't want my own agency. No.
Any more questions?
Yes?
Okay, just say hi. Any last question? Okay, I'll probably ask the last one. Alex?
I know.
No, I will ask.
I just wanted to show demo after that price.
Yes, I will ask
Okay.
the last one. What's your, let's put it, either what's your favorite advertisement or the campaign, or what's your favorite festival of advertising? advertisement, because when I was young, I was always inspired by Cannes lines.
Yes, yes.
I remember I used CDs, I installed it on my computer, and I can watch it for hours to see the creative work. So I'm just curious, like, if you're having the same source of inspiration with your friends.
100%, definitely. We do Cannes lines and junior Cannes lines for our teams, and we send them for training as well. We do sessions where we evaluate why this got a silver and not gold, and why this was shortlisted and never made it through, for instance. But I love FEs. I think the effectiveness is super important. And when I came to Grey Group, which was one of the first WPP agencies that I was with, I was surprised that an agency that has won gold in Cannes and Gongs and God knows whatever, they never had an FE. And I made it my personal goal to get this agency an FE. Of course I did, because it's a personal goal. I've handled Qatar Airways back then for more than 5 years, and back then Twitter was making a huge, entrance, and everyone was tweeting. So we did a competition that's called Tweet and Meet, and we had the entire world tweeting to meet with a friend. It was insane, and we've won an FE. It was the first agency FE, so I watch FEs because it has to be effective advertising. If it's not effective, then yeah, I mean, it inspires you. It's nice to look at. It's a little emotional, like all these Indian TVCs are super emotional. I love watching those, like, and Thai as well.
I like Thai, yeah.
Insane, you know.
Insanely
But are
crazy,
they
beautiful.
effective? I'm not sure. So
FE is more like a business success, right?
it has a new number that you can tie to that. Why was it effective? It's because it was this. Yeah. So yeah. But my favorite commercial, it's a difficult one. I love a lot of commercials. I love Russian commercials. They're the ones that inspired me. You know, like the old school, the Gillette ones, the Mentos ones, Snickers. They're insane. It's like, I can't describe. Because I grew up during Soviet Union. I was born in Azerbaijan and Baku, so we watched a lot of Russian telly. And it was like 10 minutes of soap opera, which you love, and 7 minutes of commercials, which I loved as well. So I had no problem just staying glued to the TV.
No, I think the main difference, the main reason why this commercial actually works, because the light they show in the commercial and the light you can see outside was very, very different.
Yeah,
And I still remember this Bounty commercial.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're insane. So yeah, thanks guys for having me. Lovely getting to know you.
Thank you for
I'm
coming.
around. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll have a small networking chat afterwards, and I see some snacks. I think, Alex, I can invite you to do the
Thank
quick
you.
demo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you one way to work with the data, to maybe start creating those kind of old school creatives that inspire you, not just taken by volume. So we built a platform called SOMONITOR, and the point of this platform is to understand what everybody is talking about and how can you actually differentiate from them. So how many of you have dealt with social listening before? Raise your hand. This is not social listening, okay?
Okay.
Disclaimer from the very beginning. Why it's not social listening? Because in social listening you are working with the audience response mostly. Here we're talking about the brand communication, right? So this platform that takes the data from organic, from paid, and whatever channels you could imagine. Search, display, banner ads, programmatic. And what it does with it is actually analyzing and breaking down every single content piece in what is this content is about. This is just an example of an antivirus. You probably have heard about this antivirus company. It's called Kaspersky Labs. So we've got a brand and competitors, Kaspersky, and we look at the very recent data, how they compete against each other. And for every single content piece, every single ad that they run, we actually can tell that this is content, is educational, you know what the topic is about, and we know what kind of audiences it addresses, and many other things. And thanks to large language models, we can do it on the fly for every single industry. So last time when I was doing my PhD in computer science, we were doing the model training for every single label. We want to predict somebody's gender, you have to train a model for lots of males and lots of females to predict whether this content is created for males or for females. You have to have a lot of so-called ground truths. Now we don't need this. because large language models are so large and they know so much information from the internet that I can give a very, very good educated guess on what this content is about and split it into lots of categories that we marketers actually need to make decisions to come up with the angles that we want to further use in our strategy, on our pitch. So here we get lots of content, all coming from the antivirus companies. I have a model called content library where these things are all aggregated. Probably we'll look at, let's say, organic this time, and we enable Facebook and Instagram as a source, and we're looking at these 6 companies, and we look, let's say, at the last 60 days, something like this. So from here, we can understand that these companies are mainly talking to general public and to techies, particular techies, and we can see that Kaspersky is occupying almost half of the communication space compared to everyone else. And you can see how does their messaging difference, right? You can see that for Kaspersky, the techies audience is actually number 1, and then the businesses is number 2, but for everyone else, they're trying to sell it directly to their general public. You can also look at different products that they're selling. And for example, you can look at all these companies and their corresponding competition just for techies. So how particularly they compete in this tech space. And maybe you want to look at what kind of products they're selling to this tech space. And this mainly, of course, cybersecurity solution or an antivirus solutions. So this data is already very useful for planners, because from here you can understand, for example, what type of content was out there, how much engagement get, which part of the content was important, and what is inside the content, just as I was like showing you before. But what has really become interesting, and this is what I also use to teach my students, is the next step. How can you come up with your marketing strategy bricks, all those pieces that you would actually put in your, let's say, in your pitch, if you want to go and pitch for a company. So now it's possible with GenAI, you can use this instant analyzer function. It helps you, for example, to understand different industry tensions. And you say, okay, I want to look for top 4 to 10 industry tensions that were relevant to this antivirus space in the last, say, 60 days, right? Like whatever filter I choose to understand. So we are looking here at social pages, organic, Instagram and Facebook, for ECET, Other Bytes, McAfee, Norton, Kaspersky, and a couple of others into this space. So you can see from here, from the spot, right, that one of the key things where the whole battle is happening is this tension of addressing diverse cybersecurity threats and awareness gaps, right? So this is about brands that revolve around a wide range of cybersecurity threats, malware attacks, ransomware, phishing. This is how they sell. They kind of all know they should sell through this, so they're doing it as a hygiene. And Kaspersky is doing just more than others. If you look at engagement, you can see that despite Kaspersky doing more, Avast is actually getting the more engagement in there, right? Just this particular thing. So this is something to think for Kaspersky, but let's look at others. For example, I'm Norton. For example, I want to do a better job in this space, and I want to do my content calendar to post to understand what's next. So I could look for other tensions in here, and one of them would be addressing the growth trend of AI-related scams and misinformation, right? That's McAfee is really leading this trend, and it's really good for them because they actually kind of take it first and write on it. And this is just what we were discussing just now on the panel. And then another 2, like smaller ones, will be navigating digital privacy, data concerns, and navigating general tech tension, something like this. So let's say we will pick up the second one, and let's say we are Kaspersky or one of the other smaller brands, Norton, who wants to leverage on this second trend. We actually can use this tension later to come up with a story and with the content. So in marketing, creative marketing, what do we, like if you take like the most simple framework, what do we need for a story? We need attention, we also need the persona. That persona faces that tension, that can become a story, that could translate eventually to your, whatever you want. The calendar, your copies, you can ground it further with your audience research, whatever you like to do with this. So for example, we take this tension, the second one, just let's keep it in mind. And we continue building our study, and we try to figure out what are the top personas out there. Again, in this tech space within the antivirus community. So it's not general public, not for everyone, but for those people who are a little bit more techy, a little bit more likely to resonate with those topics in organic on Meta. So we have security seekers, we have security innovators, community connectors, and security advocate. Again, here you can see that Kaspersky is dominating the second one, the security innovators. So they're very techy, that's like their main core. But let's say we have Norton pretty much dominating there, like talking a lot about the first type of people, the security seekers. If you look at the engagement again, because in the previous one we were using engagement, you can see again that Avast and McAfee was doing a good job in the innovator space, which is pretty much aligned with their first tension that we were discussing. And maybe, yeah, some of them are underutilized. For example, this community connector. Kaspersky is doing something there, but if, let's say, if you are Norton, you might want to occupy this because Kaspersky is rather small in terms of engagement. Just, you know, address that persona and maybe run a campaign to amplify that, and then you could come up with something there as well. So, for example, you pick up this tech-savvy community connector persona, number 3, and maybe we want to come up with, we go back to our original tension, and we want to look at this tension number 3 again. Oh, sorry, which one I was picking up actually? Yeah, the number 2, right? Number 2, the AI-related one we're doing here. So we have another new model. We just released it just a few days back, so I guess you guys are first to see it. I bet no one have seen it because we just really released it recently. Where you can use these modules, use these building bricks to actually come up with the stories and with the content. So it's very much something that you'll be using in your pitch to deliver to your final user. So for example, we want to create a character, right? We have a persona, but it's not a person yet. It's just a persona. So we want to make it like a human, right? So we have creating a character. So we were okay. So perspective study 5. That's what we were doing, and then we were picking up their community connector. This one, right? So this is our persona that we have selected. So we can create a character out of it. And what we're having here is LLM coming up with an actual person, with the actual life, an actual story, that type of characters that you might be presenting to your boss when you're talking about your persona. And it's happening in real time. So you are generating this character, and once this character is ready, what you want to marry this character with maybe attention, or maybe one of those other communication angles that are there. Okay, so we got Jordan Blake, tech-savvy community connector dedicated to uplifting others and foreseeing strong family ties, right? So, sure, we are picking up him, and we go next, and we need to choose a conflict. One of those tensions that we were picking up, right? And again, we go down. So, yeah, okay, this is the one we wanted to pick up. Addressing the growth rate of AI-related scams and misinformation. We pick up this tension. And then we want to also come up with an angle, because in marketing, when we have a tension, we usually want to come up with some angling around the tension. So what angles here? Cultural narratives, for example, or digital literacy gap, right? So, I mean, this is kind of by the book already. I mean, you have a hand about it, you can read. It's a very, very standard framework that you can use. Social trust theory, for example, or digital device theory. So, for example, we can pick up this digital literacy gap. And we pick this up, and after that, we already can generate a story. This takes a bit of time, so maybe a minute or so. But why this story is useful? This story is very unique as compared to what you would be doing with just ChatGPT alone, because ChatGPT have a fixed set of data. Unless you're fine-tuning it for every single case that you have, for every single, just an example. Just now I was in a Grab's office. They can fine-tune the large language models based on tons of content that they have, tons of user interaction that they have. They can do it. So their large language models is, in a sense, very Grab model and very creative. But let's be realistic. We don't have a team of 50 to 100 data scientists just to support our marketing. What we're doing, we are trying to work with whatever tools that we have, and very often ChatGPT is not sufficient for it, because actually if you try it, every time you run something, it will be coming up with a very similar answers to you. But here it's not. Here, this is a very data-driven, based on that particular attention that we have chosen, and that particular persona that we have chosen, right? So we have this audience story. Yeah, you can read it about it on the Vibrant Saturdays, neighborhoods, soundcasting. Yeah, like it's like a real story. Those from creative agencies, they would understand that this could be a very good basis for even generating the content. So, yeah. Would you like to read? A bit long. So maybe read the first part of it. So I remember the day distinctly. It was one of the Vibrant Saturdays. So our neighborhood, the sun casting playful shadows of Kherson streets and mirrored adult laughter. My tech platform was finally ready for this grand lunch, a place where pop culture meets community. So basically says, oh well, that was such a great thing, but over there, I would assume that over the, because of the lack of the literacy, they had an issue with this platform during the AI scams and the problems. And you can come up with lots of these kind of stories. What you're going to do next, you're going to use this story to come up with your content. And this is already a real thing that you can use any type of large language model that your favorite one. You use Gemini, you use ChatGPT. You can just pick up the stories that you have had in the large language model that the platform has generated for you. You put it in large language model, and you want to generate moments of truth and activation. This based on the story, the persona, and the tension attached. So you're grounding large language models with the data that you just came up with, based on what has been actually analyzed from very recent competitor posts. And it's very important, as many people say, you have to relate each of their 5 moments of truth, or the modes. Back to the data. And you can even ask it, do not hallucinate. It actually helps. Henry, does it help usually? Yeah, sometimes. Oh, it offered me 2 responses. It doesn't want to take responsibility on the results. Okay, it asked me to choose one of them. Yeah, so what it did, it actually took the persona, took the story, and started generating the moments of truth. Just, you don't have time to go through all of them. In a normal setting, you would just go through all of them, pick up some. You will further generate maybe some creative expressions of it, maybe some copies. That will be your proposal already. I'm not advising that. Yeah, it's better to be done by people, but we can do it by ChatGPT as well, especially when it's grounded so well. So, okay, for example, this mode, mention a community fears about AI scams during the event. Launch educational series across multiple media platforms, explaining the common AI scams, avoid them, making them so that tie-in, leverage the increase, engage during discussion about AI scams, tailor content. Okay, so for example, we have this moment of truth, and we use mode 2 to generate grade 5 DCO Facebook copies, something like this. And it will start generating the copies. Not necessarily to be a DCO, just can be anything, but it will start generating some copies that you could use. So for example, you got a headline, you got copy, you got call to action. So for example, join the fight against scams, discover how to protect yourself, your community from any scams, blah, 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 stay safe, right? Now, you can generate a creative expression of one in form of an image, for example, right? And it will start generating some images for you. You can use it in your brief. You can generate 5, 10 if you like. You can just pick up the one that seems like to be a better fit into your campaign. And if you put your website inside, like the actual scrap of your website, and they'll start generating it in your colors and in your actual language, which is very useful to ground large language models with a website of the target brand as well. I'm not doing this, but usually that's another step. You just upload maybe the website copy inside there. And then the most fun part is that this is not all. If you come to this point, you kind of already have a story, you already have a persona and attention, you already have headlines, and you already have your creative expression. But how do we know that this is something actually really working for your audience, apart from engagements? You can pick up those attentions with a great engagement, but just social. If you want to run your campaign really well, you want to make sure that it's also grounded by the actual data, right? And that's why we have this GWI integration, where we can look into particular psychographics of the people. So, for example, this is your attitudes of Singaporeans' general population, or particular ones. Maybe if you want to run a campaign to younger people, we have a couple of their attitudes that are very, very related, particularly to Singapore. So now we are looking at seniors with a private property, right, as a main audience, and we want to compare them to the Singapore population. So what we want to do here, we want to use this data, the attitudes of these people, to actually refine the copies and the creative expressions that we already had before. And the way we do it is we are putting that data as a grounding, direct integration, or as a screenshot. Actually, I mean, a bit cheating, right? Just putting screenshots inside. We have the integrations inside as well. And then what you're gonna do is refine the copy 1 and the image based on the psychographics provided to fit the given customer group in Singapore. And this is already something I like, something scientific. Yeah, I'm teaching in university, so I like kind of well-grounded things. So now you're gonna have refined copy and refined image concept, what will be inside there, and it explains what exactly it has refined. So refined focuses on audience comfort with familiar settings and trusted methods, reducing the emphasis on community gatherings and public engagement storyline. So basically what it did, it looked at Singapore psychographics and emphasized on the community building less, despite somewhere another market, in the global market, all those antiviruses were talking about communities, and they were talking about this tension of literacy. In Singapore is actually less relevant. Where we know it from the actual questionnaires of the Singaporean people, from their psychographics, so actually refining the messaging, refining the copies, refining their actual content to prepare a better brief. Now we can pass it to our production teams. Hopefully they will not get overwhelmed. But I think this is the way it should work in 2025. And if you're not doing so, come off into Marketing Mondays and use SOMONITOR. That's the main takeaway you should take from this session. Yeah? Yeah. Pass back to the host.
I'm not sure what's next. Okay, I'm not sure what's next do we have. I think a good one. I just want to summarize that actually it's not just to pass it to the creative, but it's also, for instance, what MediaCorp do. They use this tool, and we are part of the AI roadmap. They use this tool in order to understand what's happening in their customer business and what their competitor or their customers do. And sometimes by competitor, we're talking about other governments, in order to contact the customer and tell them, like, you know, actually there is something happening on the market, and this is the way we see it, and this is our creative brief, how to overcome it or how to make it more effective. So I think it's not just reactively waiting for something to happen, but it's proactively proposing something. And it's easier when the machine or the system provide the information like immediately, or like with maybe like 1 day delay, because it needs to collect, analyze the data and so on, because it's much easier and makes your life. Like the last part, I want to finish it. I remember the phrase which I really like, that robots should work and people should create. So I think this type of machine allows to do that. That's all on my side. Thank you very much, and thank you, Madina, for this inspirational talk. And yeah, let's have some food and share some thoughts.
Yeah, please proceed to the back. Unfortunately, pizza shop is still closed, so you can get some buns and a coffee in there. Buns are all there and should be enough for everyone. If you didn't take a bun, don't go home, please. I want to let you out next time. I cannot eat so many. I'm already so fat. Right? All right. Thank you.